Hi, everybody. Well, it's kind of a depressing time of year for me, and today I thought I would try to talk about someone in my life who is no longer here and that I miss very much. And that person is my old black cat, Raven. I lost her on April 8th of 2017. It's been almost 6 years, and I'm still kind of struggling with it because she was just a really cool cat. I was given her, this is really weird. She was given to me as a gift by somebody that I thought was my friend. It was a week before Easter, and I actually had recently lost another black cat suddenly. So it turns out that this person's neighbors had a colony of semi feral cats, and they had 4 new little kittens, and one of them was solid black, except for their little toes. Her back toes were white, just the very, very tips of her right hind foot. Looked like somebody had just taken a tiny bit of white paint and painted her toes. Just on that one foot, and that was always just so cool. It was my favorite thing about her. And I remember it was about like, weather was about like this, except it was really windy. And my friend was on her lunch hour, and she says, "Let's go out to my truck." I was like, "Why are we going out there? It's cold and windy and gross." And she took me out to her truck and opened the door and said, "There's your Easter gift." And there was this tiny little black kitten with a green and yellow ribbon around her neck. And she was so tiny and frail, and she just mew. And I fell in love with her immediately. And make a long story short, by the end of the day, her name was Raven. And it was funny because it was kind of chilly. And of course, my friend kept going out to her truck and warming up the truck and checking on the kitten. And then when I went home that night, I got into the truck and I took the kitten, and she couldn't find her. And she's like, "Where'd she go?" I was like, "She's in my car already." And my friend was like, "Oh." But sadly, we are not friends anymore because of various reasons, and mostly because she had a really control freak jerk of a husband. So, anyway, I was tempted to give the kitten back, but I couldn't do that to another living thing. I knew it wasn't the kitten's fault. And it was just really a hard time for me, and the kitten was probably the only thing kept me going about then. And she grew into a really, really opinionated, headstrong little black cat. And the reason she got her name Raven was because of the weather. I'm a avid Edgar Allan Poe fan, and The Raven is one of my favorite poems. And the weather was just about perfect when I took her home that night. It was a dreary day, and I kept thinking of that poem, and Raven it was. So I took her home. She grew into a really awesome cat, and a month later, the alleged friend and I had a falling out. There were shots fired on both sides, so it wasn't completely anybody's fault, but we both had a lot to learn back then. But it was mostly due to her jerk of a husband. So anyway, I took on somebody I thought was a new friend. And, well, she didn't really hit it off too great with Raven, and she kind of treated her rough. And then she wondered why the cat would scratch her. But the worst part about this was I had a whole bunch of pictures from when Raven was a kitten. And this person, I believe, when they moved out and decided they weren't my friend anymore, I think they took the album that had Raven's baby pictures in it and threw it away. Along with the dehydrator, the $40 dehydrator she practically begged me for her birthday or Christmas or whatever. She threw that out. And a couple of her favorite pictures of me that she liked. There was one of us at the zoo in the fall, and there was this bright orange tree behind me. And she says, "I just love this picture of you. You know, it's just you look so happy, blah, blah, blah." But then we had a falling out, and she threw that in the dehydrator, and I think she took that photo album of Raven's pictures in it just to be mean. So, yeah. Sarah, if you watch this, and Paula, you too, if you guys are watching this, it's a lesson for you. You guys weren't too great to me either. But yeah, they had a bunch of disagreements, and I think she took that album with her. And again, I wasn't totally blameless, but I don't know. We all had a lot of growing up to do then. I won't go into details, but it was mostly due to my decision to live a certain type of life, and she didn't want me to do that. She wanted me to do the exact same thing that everyone else always seems to want to do. Anyway, to make a long story short, we had a falling out. And again, Raven was always there for me. So I kept her, and she saw me through a lot of stuff. She saw me through the loss of a lot of friends. She got me through shortly after my mom passed away. That's when I got her, and she saw me through that. And she saw me through when my grandma's dementia got past the point of no return, and eventually she passed away too. And then I noticed that Raven was starting to get skinny, and it turned out she had kidney failure and something going on with her liver. And finally it got to the point that it wasn't fair to keep her going any longer. Yeah, I know, Curtis. That's what the people I just mentioned a while ago, that's what they can do. So to make a long story short, I had to let her go to the Rainbow Bridge, and it was the most horrible, horrible thing I've ever done, and I'm still dealing with it. Because I just feel like if I coulda, woulda, shoulda done just that one last little thing, I could have saved her. But there comes a time when you just kind of have to toss in the towel for the animal's sake. Oh, am I boring you? I'm sorry. There you go, a bunny yawn caught on camera. But anyway, excuse me, my sinuses are acting up a little bit. But anyway, to make a long story short, I had to let her go. It was a beautiful, warm day, and the flowers were all in bloom, and I had lost my best friend. But she just turned 15, and I just feel like I could have given her another year or so if I had tried this, that, and the other, and I'm still struggling with the guilt, but I just don't think it would have been fair to her at that point. But I miss her a lot. And then about a week and a half later, my friend lost her first bunny, cute little spotted guy named Snoopy. And I miss the interactions with the bunny so much, and I wasn't quite ready for another cat. That's when I started looking into possibly adopting my own rabbit. And I honestly believe it was Raven doing it. She led me to the rescue and led me to Curtis. And I took Curtis home. It'll be 5 years on June the 14th, I believe. Yeah. But Anyway, that's the story of Raven and my barn pot former friends, if you can call them that. Nobody wants to see your bum. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would even be here if it hadn't been for that cat. So, Raven, I love you, girl. Sorry for rambling, but we miss you. And thank you for sending me Curtis. And yeah, even Phoenix. Sometimes he's a little bit much, but so am I. Raven, we miss you, girl, and we hope you're having a great spring up there. And take care of all the other little ones that have left us recently. I know there's been a lot of losses going on, so I miss you, girl, and that's her story. So anybody that stuck around this long, good for you to hear it all. So yep, that's my girl Raven, and a little rant about the doofuses in my life. So yeah, if you guys are out there watching this, and I want Raven's pictures back, by the way. Okay, that's it, everybody. That is the story of my girl Raven. We'll talk to you later. Bye, everyone. Have a happy weekend. You two are so cute.